The night was cold and the city lights blurred through the rain-streaked window of the car. Anuradha, a self-made millionaire, leaned back against the plush leather seats, lost in thought. Just an hour ago, she had closed a deal that would elevate her cosmetics empire to international fame. She had everything a woman could dream of: wealth, success, respect. But tonight, a familiar ache settled in her heart, a void that no amount of success could ever fill. Her driver, seeing her exhaustion, pulled over. "Ma'am, the traffic is terrible. It might be faster to take a taxi from here." Anuradha nodded, barely registering his words. A yellow taxi pulled up, and she slipped into the back seat, giving the driver her address without a glance. The taxi moved slowly through the glittering, rain-soaked streets. Anuradha was about to close her eyes when a familiar scent, a mix of old books and a specific cologne she hadn't smelled in years, wafted through the car. Her eyes shot open and she looked at the driver in the rearview mirror. The face that stared back was older, etched with lines of hardship she didn't recognize. But the eyes, those were the same eyes she had fallen in love with a decade ago. Her breath hitched. "Arjun," she whispered, her voice trembling. The driver flinched, his knuckles turning white on the steering wheel. He didn't answer, but the silence was confirmation enough. It was him, Arjun, her ex-husband, the man who had shattered her world 7 years ago. The memories came flooding back, unbidden and sharp. They were college sweethearts, two dreamers with nothing but love and ambition. They had built a life together, filled with laughter and shared hopes. He was her rock, her everything. Then everything changed. Arjun grew distant, cold. The man who once couldn't bear to be apart from her now barely spoke a word. The warmth in their home vanished, replaced by a chilling silence. She had begged him to tell her what was wrong, what she had done, but he remained a fortress, his emotions locked away. One evening, he came home and placed a set of papers on the table. Divorce papers. "I don't love you anymore, Anuradha," he had said, his voice flat, devoid of any emotion. Her world had collapsed. The man she had given her heart to was leaving her, and she didn't even know why. The divorce was swift and brutal. He took nothing, simply walked out of her life, leaving her with a broken heart and a mountain of questions. The pain was a fire that nearly consumed her. For months, she was just a ghost, drifting through the ruins of her life. But one day, looking at her reflection, she saw a flicker of the determined woman she once was. She decided she wouldn't let this be her end. She would rebuild. Using her knowledge of traditional beauty remedies, she started a small cosmetics workshop in her garage. She poured all her pain, all her sleepless nights into her work. Her products, born from authentic ingredients and sheer passion, began to gain a following. Slowly, her small workshop grew into a thriving business and then an empire. She had become the millionaire businesswoman everyone admired, a symbol of resilience. But behind the success, the question always lingered: why? And now, here he was, the ghost from her past, driving a taxi in the city where she was a queen. The silence in the car was heavy, thick with unspoken words and 7 years of pain. Finally, Anuradha found her voice again, stronger this time. Why, Arjun? Why did you leave? He pulled the taxi over to the side of a quiet, tree-lined street, the rain drumming a somber beat on the roof. He turned to face her, and for the first time she saw the unshed tears glistening in his eyes. The mask of indifference he had worn for so long finally cracked. "I never stopped loving you, Anu," he said, his voice raspy with emotion. "I never did." He explained everything. Back then, his own business, a small tech startup he had poured his soul into, had gone bankrupt. He was drowning in debt, facing ruin. He saw a future of poverty and struggle, and he couldn't bear the thought of dragging her down with him. "I couldn't stand to see the disappointment in your eyes," he confessed, his voice breaking. "I couldn't let you sacrifice your dreams for my failure, leaving you. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. I thought if you hated me, you would move on and build a better life. And you did." He looked at her, his expression a mixture of pride and profound sadness. "You did." Tears streamed down Anuradha's face, washing away years of anger and resentment. It wasn't pride that had driven him away. It was love, a misguided, selfless, and heartbreaking love. He had broken his own heart to protect hers. All this time, she had thought he abandoned her, when in reality, he had been trying to save her. The years of misunderstanding melted away in that rain-swept car, replaced by a wave of overwhelming compassion and a love that had never truly died. She reached out and placed her hand on his. It was calloused and rough from years of hard labor, a testament to the life he had lived without her. "Come home, Arjun," she said softly, her voice thick with tears. "My home is your home." She wasn't just offering him a place to stay, she was offering him a second chance. A chance to heal, to reclaim his dignity, and to be with the woman who had never, not for a single day, stopped loving him. He looked at her, disbelief warring with hope in his eyes. He saw no pity, only love and forgiveness. In that moment, the millionaire and the taxi driver disappeared, and all that was left were two souls who had finally found their way back to each other. They remarried in a small, private ceremony, not of grandeur, but of profound meaning. Arjun, with his sharp business mind, joined Anuradha in her company. His insights and her vision became an unstoppable force. They worked side by side, not as boss and employee, but as partners in every sense of the word. They rebuilt their life together, their bond stronger than ever, forged in the fires of separation and sacrifice. Their story became a quiet legend within their company, a reminder that true love is resilient. Sometimes life pulls people apart, not to break them, but to test the strength of their connection, to see if they can find their way back home. Because true love, as Arjun and Anuradha discovered, never really fades. It just waits for the right moment to be rekindled. Thank you so much for watching. Their story reminds us that love can endure even the harshest of trials. If you were moved by their journey, please hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that touch the heart. We'll see you in the next video. In the pouring rain, Anuradha, a self-made millionaire, watched as her driver frantically tried to hail a cab. Her own luxury car had broken down, and she was late for a crucial meeting. Finally, a taxi pulled over. She slid into the back seat, shaking off the raindrops, and gave the address. As the car pulled away, she glanced at the rearview mirror and her heart stopped. The driver's eyes, filled with a familiar sadness, met hers. It was Arjun, her ex-husband, the man who had vanished from her life 7 years ago. The silence in the car was deafening, thick with unspoken words and painful memories. They were once deeply in love, a couple everyone envied. But slowly, Arjun had grown distant, his laughter fading, his touch becoming cold. He had become a stranger in their own home, leaving Anuradha feeling lost and alone. One day, he simply asked for a divorce, offering no explanation, just a cold finality that shattered her world. The heartbreak was immense, but from the ashes of her old life, Anuradha built a new one. She poured her pain into passion, starting a small cosmetic workshop that, through sheer determination, blossomed into a business empire. She was a success, a symbol of strength, but a part of her heart had always remained empty. Now, sitting in his taxi, the past came rushing back. The car ride felt like an eternity. Finally, unable to bear the tension, Anuradha asked the question that had haunted her for years. Why? Why did you leave me? Arjun's knuckles turned white as he gripped the steering wheel. He pulled the car over to the side of the road, the rain drumming a somber beat on the roof. He turned to face her, his voice choked with emotion. Because I loved you too much to let you suffer with me, he confessed. He explained that his business had collapsed back then. He was facing bankruptcy, drowning in debt, and couldn't bear the thought of dragging her down with him. He thought leaving was the only way to give her a chance at a better life, even if it meant breaking both their hearts. The truth washed over Anuradha, erasing years of bitterness in an instant. All this time, she had thought he'd fallen out of love, that his pride had driven him away. But it wasn't pride. It was a profound, selfless sacrifice. Tears streamed down her face, mingling with the rain on the window pane. He had protected her in the only way he knew how, by disappearing. She saw the years of hardship etched on his face and understood the weight of the burden he had carried alone. He hadn't stopped loving her. He had loved her enough to let her go. In that small taxi, surrounded by the storm, their walls came down. "Come home, Arjun," she whispered, her voice filled with forgiveness and a love that had never truly faded. She didn't just offer him a place to stay. She offered him back his dignity, his home, and his heart. Arjun, his own eyes wet with tears, could only nod. He had spent 7 years driving through the city, a ghost haunted by her memory, and now his journey had finally led him back to her. Their reunion wasn't just a return to the past. It was the start of a beautiful new chapter. They remarried, not with the youthful naivety of their first wedding, but with the deep, unwavering strength of a love that had been tested by time and hardship. Arjun joined her in the business, his sharp mind and her creative vision making them an unstoppable team. Their story became a quiet testament to the enduring power of love, a reminder that sometimes even the most painful goodbyes are not the end, but simply a detour on the path back to each other. True love, they discovered, doesn't break. It bends, it waits, and it always finds its way home. Thank you so much for watching. If this story touched your heart, please give it a like, share it with someone you love, and don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories. We'll see you in the next video.